Welcome everyone to the Man United Agenda. If you haven't watched at 8:30, I hope you're tuning in tonight because it's going to be even bigger and better than what we saw earlier with Errol. Take me home, yes. This is it. It's Friday night. It's the Friday night takeaway. And we've got our resident, that's TalkMU, in the house. It's usually TalkMU with Mr. B. I've taken the place of Mr. B while he's away for 3 weeks on his little vacation. Or is it gardening leave? I don't know. But I like the seat. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it here with you guys. TalkMU, how are you, bruv? You were backstage at last show, helping setting things up in the background. And now you're back to speak your mind. I know you've got a lot of things to say today. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm ready for it, bro. I'm ready for it. I want to bump some heads tonight. Hopefully there's going to be some serious head bumping going on one of the particular topics we're going to discuss. And I've also got a little something to drop in a moment, which I will do after everybody's introduced themselves.
There's a lot of mystery to this because usually you do spot the ball, right? But I understand you've got something new tonight. But I'm sure we'll find out soon. But yeah.
Is it spot the transfer? I'm just finding out.
Yeah, nailed it, Shah.
Because ain't no one getting that one right. Okay, I'm just putting it.
Brilliant. Shah, your time will come around. I'm going to Rebel now. Rebel's just been on the show all the way from Ireland. You've been away from us for a long time, Rebel. Have you missed the Man United agenda?
Well, I missed keeping you in order, Monday, because you had a reign of terror in my absence that went unchecked, and now it's time that you got put back in your buska, made a little smaller than your 7'5" frame that you carry, and smacked into order with some of those outlandish statements that you've been making on this channel. I jest, though. It is great to be back. I did miss getting on the podcast, but unfortunately, real life sometimes decides to give you a kick in the keister and makes you take note of it and take care of business. But we're back. We're making our debut on a Friday night takeaway. Normally, I do disappear into the land of crappy internet at the weekends, but life dictated that I would be around this weekend. So here we are. We're here to talk Manchester United, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, welcome back, Rebel. It's been a while. I have missed you. And after a few slaps you gave me in the last show, I'm ready. I've got my guard up again. I forgot how dangerous you are and how sharp you are with your razors. Anyway, below me, he's back. He's wearing his zebra top. He's got his new latest top. He's got his season ticket ready, and he's punching. That'll be big man Shah from Birmingham. How you doing, Shah?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. It's been a while again. Just busy. Lots going on. Lovely weather today. I thought, obviously, we need to approach this transfer jungle, so I put on the zebra top. So we can get into this tonight and hopefully see if we can wake up tomorrow and feel even better.
I like the talk coming. You started really sharp tonight, Shah. You got everyone on their toes, and well, I actually want to say a big warm welcome. We got a debut tonight. People usually get nervous on the debut, but this man is cool, calm. You hear me? And collective. It's Calm O'Connor or Colum O'Connor or Connor, whatever how you pronounce your name. I'll leave that to you to tell us your name and how to pronounce it properly. And hopefully I won't butcher it throughout the show. You've been one of the wonderful people in the comments, commenting over the last few weeks and months. And we really admire what you have to say. But now you're going to be on a hot seat on a hot day. And we want you to deliver and tell us all about our issues at Manchester United. So give us a little intro. Calm O'Connor.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's pronounced Colm O'Connor. I'll answer Colum as well. It's the Irish version of my name. I'm really lucky to get involved. Really happy to be on and giving my opinion. And I'm probably going to rub a few people up the wrong way, but hey, it's football. That's what we do.
Love it. So you've been watching the Man United agenda for a long time now, and dropping in the comments as well. Do you have a favourite panelist?
without sounding like I'm trying to get up anywhere, but it's probably you. You're probably my favourite panelist. You tell it how it is, and that's how I like it.
Hold on, hold the phone, hold the phone.
I love you already. And you're going to be the star of the show, no doubt. We want to go through some comments quickly just before we get going, because we've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. And I've just seen Bath Time arrive as well. And I know Bath Time watches Love Island, so that must be over yet. Must just finish. I'm sure he's got a lot to say about that. But we're going to talk about the boys here. And TALKMU's in the house, obviously. Brush, again, with his popcorn. Got his popcorn out. Thomas Mitchell. Thomas has joined us for the last couple of weeks on a Friday night takeaway. Welcome back. HG Gamers back for round 2, he says. Want to say big shout out to the big man all the way from San Francisco. That is Yank talking smack. I hope you watch the NBA Finals, because aren't the winners from San Francisco as well? The Golden State Warriors. Yep, Golden State Bridge, Golden State Warriors. Yeah, the NBA champions, they're from there as well. I don't know if you follow basketball, but yeah, welcome back, Connor. Solo as well is in the house. Helena Hopkinson, you just watched our previous show. Welcome back. And she's saying good morning from New Zealand, gentlemen.
Oh,
Wow.
I lived in New Zealand for a year, by the way. Played football out there before they changed up the. This is in 2003, I think it was. I went out there for a year. Really lovely country. I lived in Auckland, but travelled around the South Island as well for games and everything else, and set up my own coaching academy. Got a whole love the country. I've still got friends out there who went on to be New Zealand coach for the women's national team as well. So really good opportunities out there. Welcome all the way from New Zealand. Mohammed's in the house as well. Bath Time saying legendary episode of Love Island. I will watch that later. Thanks, Bath Time. Zebras in the jungle tonight. That's related to you. Both you, Karma, Connor, and Shah as well. You're both wearing the black and white. Eddie's in the house as well. Turf Moore, Burnley. Big up Burnley fans. Unfortunately, won't be the Premiership next year, but we want you on the show too. Hopefully, we see you again coming on. And obviously, Ola Kunle, he says, OMONDI, if it makes you feel better, you're my favorite panelist after Mr. B. But you give me a hard time. That's all good. And yeah, can I do the hacker? No,
ask you, did you feel like a Lilliputian out in New Zealand?
Well, like Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah.
They're big people out there. The Samoans and the Islanders are huge. I remember sitting on a bus one time, and there's a Samoan girl. She must be about 14 years old. I was at the edge of the seat. You know, it's a 2-seater. I couldn't get on there. But when you see the Samoans and the Islanders playing rugby or rugby union or whatever against the kids at 14 years old, like European kids, it's just like, wow. It's shocking, you know. But great country, a lot of outdoor sports, beautiful. And the people are nice as well. But anyway, we're here to talk about Manchester United. And like you say, Man United agenda is international. New Zealand. We've got Ghanaians in the house as well. So we're covering all continents. But what we're not doing is making many transfers lately. So today we're just going to talk about what's happened this week. I'm going to start with Mr. O'Connor. My first subject is going to be about Frankie de Jong. Obviously, he seems to be our mainstay target. I want you to tell us in your own words, because I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. What do you think about Frankie de Jong as a player? What do you know about him? Is he worth chasing after all this for us? Does he fit? Everyone wants a CDM, for example. You play FIFA. Can he play that role? What will he bring to our game? And are you an admirer of his? Over to you.
I mean, I love Frankie de Jong. I've seen him play, obviously, in Barcelona, in the shirt. He's improved the squad so much. It'd be ridiculous. I think, what is it? They want in, is it 70 million? That's what they want in at 85 million euros. That's what the turnaround said that they want. I don't understand what the holdup is. If we want him, if it's Eric Ten Hag's target, just go get him. You know, otherwise we're going to be stuck with Freddie McTominay in the midfield, and he's miles above them. I mean, you can just look at some of the stats he's had last season, and it shows that he's miles above anybody that we've got in our team whatsoever. So it's a definite deal that needs to be done. But the longer it goes on, the more maybe other teams come sniffing in. Because obviously, as you know, Barcelona want in, is it Bernardo Silva? So that could be a swap deal, De Jong for Bernardo Silva. It's another player we could lose out on, but we need to get it done, and we need to get it done fast, really.
How confident are you of this deal actually going through? Because there's a few question marks now.
Before the injection that they've just had, I'd say we're probably about 75-80% done. It's probably dropped now to about 60. if I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's better options out there for him.
I've got a task for you, Carl McConnell. Considering you're good at pronouncing names, can you please give a shout out for this £5 donation and give us his name as well, please, because I'm struggling.
I'll try. Sorry if I butcher it. Is it the Dusty?
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. So let's give a big shout out to Ndosky. That's £5 contribution to the Man United agenda. Haven't seen you before, but welcome to the show. And then what a way to welcome yourself. We will remember you. We will remember you, as Thanos would say. We won't forget you for that. Thank you so much. Shah, coming on to you. What do you think about this deal with Frankie de Jong? It's dragging on a bit. You've probably had a lot of time to look at him. Do you still think he's suitable, worth chasing?
I think obviously we saw him in the internationals. He had a great got an assist, performed well. He's obviously a player that would link up quite nicely with Donny as well. They know each other very well. If we get Anthony and Timber, all four of them know each other. So that could be a bit of a interesting situation. But obviously, some of those deals might not happen. But look, with regards to de Jong, it's a position that we've been struggling with for 3 or 4 seasons now. We've been crying out for it when we started this channel. We thought 2 windows would go by and we'll see someone come in. We haven't seen it. We're also now at a point where actually a lot of these players have just been on international duty. UEFA put in 4 games? FIFA, put in 4 games in 2 weeks after the season that they had. So there's a lot of people that probably just want to switch off from football. There's a quote by Garner. He said, football, football, football. That's all he's had to think about. Everyone just wants to switch off. So I think we'll see a little bit more movement over the coming weeks. It's down to our negotiators as well. The fact that we haven't brought him in early enough and we haven't done things means we're not offering him the right package from the beginning. Let's start low and we've tried to build it up by doing 5, 6, 7, 8, pay the money, get the man through the door. 27th of June, Ten Hag starts his training and he's there ready to go. He knows what he's doing. We know what we're doing. We're not talking about Frankie de Jong and another show afterwards because he's a player. Apart from when he starts, you know what I mean? He comes on a bit later, but I think we're all sick to death of hearing Frankie de Jong's name, but not as a Man United player. That's personally my opinion.
So it's true. We have spoken a lot about Frankie de Jong on the show, and I know in the comments as well. But coming to you, Rebel, because you haven't been around for so long, you've been AWOL. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Just give us him as a player. Do you think he's going to settle into our side? Do you think he's going to make us better? And what sort of role do you reckon he'll play?
I think clearly he would improve our midfield. That goes without question. Combined with maybe the likes of Garner being introduced, but I think if we had the 2 of them in our midfield rotation, then obviously there'd be positives in terms of our midfield platform. However, this is not going to be at the foot of Ten Hag. Ten Hag is there to coach the team and he'll be working with the squad of players he has regardless of what names are on the backs of the jerseys. I have a horrible feeling that the deal could go cold very quickly with this change in financial situation because Barcelona will be able to comfortably sit back and cherry pick a bit more, maybe look for a bit more out of the asset if they are keen to move him on, or could just decide, you know what, now we can now start attacking on multiple fronts in terms of our own competitions. We need Frankie here. So do you know what? United had their chance. They penny pinched and we're not going to deal with him anymore. We're going to tell them the door's closed and that's that. And that is the concern I have at this point with that deal. If it was something that we were going to get done, we should have gone in, got this done before they had a chance to get the house in order. And it could be a case that the horse is bolted and Frankie may no longer be in the sweet shop for us.
Oh, wow. So you've got doubts about it, Rebel. That's interesting. We've got a gamer in the house with Carl O'Connor, but we've got also Rise is in the house as well. And Rise, I want to know your thoughts on Frankie de Jong as well, but also I think you've got a gamer. Well, you're going to play some games with us tonight, aren't you?
Well, yeah, you know it rolls on the Friday night takeaway. We often like to have a little bit of fun. So we've done the pixelated player.
Yeah,
we've done.
Enjoyed that.
They were good, yeah. To spot the ball, I think a lot of people like to spot the ball. I've nearly had
Too tough.
success on spotting the ball. I thought I'd win on that one, but tonight something a little bit different. It's a little bit like, I would say, the closest thing I'd put it to would be like catchphrase. Just say what you see, okay? So I'm just going to load that up. I'm just going to load that up, and then we'll show everybody. And then all you got to do is exactly what it says when you see it. So wallop. There you go. There you go, folks. Who am I?
So is this a name as a name of a player? Is it?
Yeah, it's a player, ex-player, Man United.
So
Van
is
der
it?
Gaal?
Sorry,
Van der Gaal or
I'm saying
Bosnich?
nothing. You can't just reel names off that, Rebel. It don't work like that, bro. Think about it and then give me your answer. So everybody in the chat, if you just have a look at
I know who it is.
Monday, put it into the private chat, and if you're right, I'll tell you. Right? If you let me know, everybody in the chat, let us know who you think it is. Let me see if anybody's put anything in yet. Everybody's like looking at it, thinking, "What?"
Well, I think it's Andre Kanchelskis. Something Chelskis, anyway. Anyway, I'm saying too much, maybe. Phone and Chelsea.
Okay, we'll carry on.
Anyway, your thoughts about Frankie de Jong? Obviously, do you think like Rebel's saying he's not a bit pessimistic now, thinking that the deal might be sort of get a bit sour?
I'm not so sure about that, to be honest. I think look, it's not quite straightforward as it might first seem. I'm getting a lot of echo somewhere. A lot of echo there somewhere. Anyway, it's gone now. So you know, I still believe he's going to. I think he'll come to the club. Obviously, Barcelona, like Rebel said, yeah, they're going to want as much as they possibly can because they still are. Even though with this money that they've got in, this boost of 700 million euros, whatever it be, they're still financially in the doo-doo. You know what I mean? So they do need to sell him. They've already made that very clear. And I do believe also that he's accepted that being the case and that he must have come to some arrangement with Man United, you know, behind closed doors, so to speak. And let's be right, he is a major part of Erik ten Hag's plans. There's no two ways about that because with him comes Donny van der Beek. And we know that, you know, Erik ten Hag has got to make the best possible start to his reign as Man United manager as possible. And he is key to that. So I think that's another reason as to why we're only getting these sort of repeat snippets, if you like, of Romano. He put the same tweet out twice, didn't he? So it's everybody's a little bit starved of the information. And for me, it's a case of no news is good news. Because if there was any bad news about this whole Barca were saying, "Oh, we've got 700 million quid now, we're all right, we don't need to sell him." You know what I mean? They'd say so. Something would have been said. They wouldn't put their own player through the torment and the heartache and the unknown. You know, they would make it clear. They've already made their intentions clear, in my opinion. They're not going to backtrack on it. So it's just the case for us now is, we have to trust our board to make the right decision in terms of how far do they go in terms of what they're offering him in terms of package and also in transfer fee. But he is vital to our plans.
With what you know, do you think it's going to happen, though, in a word?
I think so, yeah. I just
want to go through a couple of comments, and we're going to branch off from Nee's comments here because we're talking about Frankie de Jong. Obviously, we know midfield is an issue here, but Bath Time with Vaughan, who is the tactical Don Gargan, I believe, he says, I reckon Garner and de Jong can't play in the same team together. United have to think de Jong will be used the same way Thiago is used by Liverpool, with Garner seems to use the same space as well. So they're similar players, don't you think? Also, Bath Time saying the midfield needs to be higher up to the forwards to press effectively. So I can't see us using two deep lying playmakers. Final point from Box here. He's saying we have a midfield three. Who would be a starting three with backup positions? So he's named Hannibal, Garner, Donny van der Beek. Who's FDJ? Frankie de Jong, Bruno, Fred, McTominay, and maybe Ericsson. So coming to you, Mr. O'Connor, what do you think about James Garner? Do you see him as playing the same sort of role as picking up the ball from the defense? Breaking the lines, being able to dribble out of trouble, good passing range. Do you see him as a similar player to Frankie de Jong in that respect? What Bath Time was kind of hinted at.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Bath Time. He is a very, very similar player to Frankie de Jong, 100%. He's shown it, obviously, on loan last season. He's shown that he can cope with doing that. He's done it for Forest last season anyway. So I think he has got a good point. You know, could they play together? I don't know whether they could play together because, like he says, they both take up the same similar kind of roles. But maybe Ten Hag has a way of making it work. You know, he's coming in, he's going to change everything that we do. We're not going to be seeing what we've seen for the last God knows how many years. So it might be able to make it work. And if it does, I think that it'll be a great pairing.
I don't know if you know, like we had a Nottingham Forest fan on the other day, and I know Rise will know this as well. But with Garner, he also played a lot higher up towards the late season in the Championship with Nottingham Forest, almost as a number 10 in that Bruno sort of role. And that's when Nottingham Forest fans, two of them now, have evidenced it by saying he plays really effective linking the attack with the Davis, their striker, big bullish striker as well. So he can play, it looks like he can play in a number of positions, Mr. Connor, don't you think?
Yeah, he can definitely play a number of different positions. I mean, I've seen him play at Forest. I watch a lot of lower league football, so I have seen him play. But I don't think he will play where the Bruno role is. I don't even think Bruno will play where the Bruno role is. I think that'll be Donny van de Beek's role next season.
Oh, wow. So what do you think about that, Shah? Do you think Donny van de Beek and Bruno will be battling for one position? Or do you think Garner, like they're saying in the comments, that Garner and Frankie de Jong will be fighting for one position too? Because we're starting to sort of mould what we envisioned Eric Ten Hag's side's going to be. We start to sort of brainstorm and think who's going to be playing in certain positions. Is it that rigid that two players will be fighting for one position, or do you see them being a bit more flexible, Shah?
I think we all got to be realistic, right? If Garner's going to come into the first team, is he going to play every game? But you've got someone like Frankie de Jong who's got experience of winning La Liga, semi-finals of Champions League, playing more consistently at a higher level. Then obviously he's going to be a starter. Thing that I've noticed about Garner and his positioning, he can play 6, 8 or 10. Genuinely. I think that's one thing. Obviously, you mentioned it. I think we all saw it in the playoff final as well. He dropped off. He was stepping forward. If someone goes forward, he's got the football brain to know that if someone else goes, I can drop back. And I think that relationship in midfield is going to be important when you've got, Bruno, disregard his passing and whatever issues and problems we had last season. He still was being a box-to-box midfielder when he needed to be. He was in defence, he was running, he was chasing the ball down to a certain degree. All three, four of these players that we're talking about, Garner, de Jong, Bruno and Donny van de Beek, can play those positions. Obviously, Bruno not so much, 6 or 8, but obviously he's a 10. But those other three players can fit around that system really well. So I think we'll have a bit of depth. But I think this is something that you mentioned in the other show. Tottenham and other teams have a lot more depth in these positions. We've actually lost the depth that we had. So we need to think about obviously building again that central midfield. Fred and Scott are there as well. And you've got Hannibal that are on fringe players. So are these fringe players capable enough in handling the pace of the Premier League? I think this is important that we've got to think about. We are going to be in a bit of a transition period. It's going to be very interesting with the fixtures that have come out as well. So personally speaking, I think these two players, Donny and Bruno, they're obviously similar players. And I think James and Frankie are. So it means that we've got cover in each of those positions. We can afford to rotate good football players. We're not relying on players that don't have sometimes the football aptitude that is required.
Great point. Coming to you, Rebel. So we're talking about rotation here and having flexibility where players can play in various positions. This is what the Dutch philosophy is all about, total football, playing in different positions comfortably. We've mentioned Donny van de Beek and Bruno. We're saying like for like. We're saying James Garner and Frankie de Jong if he comes to our club, like for like. But you've seen with Danny Blin, for example, he plays left back, he can play defensive midfield, he plays centre back. The guy Timber that we were talking about getting in, he could play in various positions, right back as well. Do you think this is a good trait, or for players to have be flexible in different positions, or would you prefer a player to be a master of one position?
Well, I think it's always important to have that one squad player that can do a job for you. Now, the question of whether or not they can do it to the level that you need is obviously going to be paramount in any debate. But I think what I have said since I've been on here really is I've always been kind of advocating that we need to be able to be in a position where we can take Bruno out of the starting 11 and give him that time to recover in between games that he does not need to be involved in. And I think actually the midfield lineup that Box has thrown up there is quite interesting. If we do deliver Frankie de Jong and an Eriksson, I think actually it could lead to the departure of one and back Fred, because I think there might actually be too many pieces to the jigsaw if we get both Eriksson and Frankie. Like obviously, as outlined before, you have Donny and Bruno and possibly Eriksson fighting it out for that position. You would have Garner and Frankie and Fred and McTominay then fighting it out in the other area, and then obviously you're going to try and utilize the likes of your Hannibals in your domestic cups and maybe on the short gap period from coming back from a Europa League to a Premier League, depending on who the fixture is against. So the balance actually in that midfield is going to be quite interesting, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do end up landing both those midfield targets, seeing either somebody go out on loan, like Hannibal maybe going out on loan to a Premier League club, or somebody like Scott or Fred maybe being moved on, if not in the summer window, in the January window, once Ten Hag has got a grip of his squad. But the rotation and being able to constantly keep it fresh, that's going to be key to the system that Ten Hag tries to play. He's going to want to utilize his bench midfielders during games because he's going to want to keep pressing his advantage if midfield is a battle that we're winning.
Brilliant. Just returning to midfield then, we're going to go to you, TalkMU. So Box is saying here, Hannibal as a floater. What do you think he means by that? And what do you think about Hannibal? Do you think Hannibal, because he was on the verge of the bench, he was on the bench, wasn't he, late last season? He's had international football. He just won a tournament, which is similar to the Nations Cup or something, with Tunisia against Japan. What do you think of Hannibal? Because you like to adopt young players, don't you? And I know, I don't want to talk about Will Smith just yet, but what do you think of Hannibal? Because he's someone, I feel, that's on the cusp of the team. Where do you think he can fit in? And is he flexible enough to play in a number of positions?
To be honest, I've not seen enough of him to come to that conclusion, but I do believe he's good enough to be part of the squad, because we are going to need a big squad. You know, we've got what is it, 53 games? Is it we said we've got? You know, so we're going to have players like him who may be able to cover numerous roles in his area of the pitch, and that's key to what we're going to be doing. You know, for Ten Hag, he's got to. What do we expect in the first season from Ten Hag? You know, are we expecting him to just go, right, this is going to be my starting 11 and I'm just going to go with it? No, we're not. He's got to try and he's got all these players at his disposal. He's going to have to go through combinations of seeing who can work with who, can do what job in what games against what setup. We're going to come across all kinds of different teams that want the ball, teams that don't want the ball, teams that park the bus. So we're going to need these kind of individual skill sets that these players bring at different times in different games to work, you know, with like we said, the rotation. Basically, that's what I'm saying. So that is going to be a major part, I believe, in what he's going to do early on. Do you know what I mean? So I do. I think I do like the. Do you remember? Well, let me just cast your mind back what I said about when. Do you remember when Ranić put Hannibal on in the Liverpool game?
Yeah.
And during the watch, I was like having none of it. I was saying, what? Why did you do that? Why is he putting him on in this debacle? Absolute, you know what I mean? But the level of ability and aggression, and I know aggression is not always a great thing.
Ruthlessness.
Yeah, I didn't want to use that word, but you've said it for me. Yeah, you know what I mean? And heart and desire that is shown. I think it's like, you know, that can easily be quelled by a great coach. You know, that can be calmed. That can be calmed down, and you can put that energy into better using your abilities, you know, in a better way. But you can be snide. You can have those dirty little tricks up your sleeve. You know what I mean? For during games, because we do need that as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting bad echo again from somewhere. But yeah. So in terms of Hannibal, I'll be happy for him to be part of the squad, most definitely.
I just want to go, because we're talking about Hannibal. Bath Time is saying Hannibal looks like the most overrated youngster since Jermaine Pennant, which is brutal. Emma Kay saying some young players find a step up easier than others. It depends on many things, many factors, she thinks. Box is saying, blimey, Vaughan, that's really harsh about Hannibal. Hannibal's, Bath Time's asking, what's he done apart from showing he has no emotional control? Emma's saying, loan Hannibal to Palace, he'll learn a thing or two there. And Bartha saying he's like a street urchin, whoever this guy is from Les Miserables, whatever. I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't go to the theatre. What do you think, Colin, about what do you think about Hannibal? Because I disagree with Bath Time. I'm with Box. I think Hannibal is a technically good player. He's shining. He's ready to go. I think he's hungry as well. But you might disagree. Do you think you could see him coming in? And what position do you reckon he can play? Because this is what I really want to find out about him. I've heard from the international team manager that he can play as an 8. He can play deep as a 6. They're saying in the youth team he can play as a 6 as well, and he can also play as a 10. And we've seen him come on the left of wide left as well. So, what do you think of him as a talent? Do you think he's got the ability to be a first team player in the future?
I think he's definitely got the ability to be a first team player. You've seen him when he comes on. Yeah, okay, he's a bit reckless and a bit raw at the moment, but talent is there, and you can see talent. And obviously, with Erik ten Hag coaching, that's even better. You know, we're going to develop him into a world class player. And I do believe he has got the capability of being a world-class player. Yeah, he's, like I said, he's very, very raw. But the only thing I have with Hannibal is there's nobody in that midfield to take him under his wing. So if he's making wrong decisions, or if we haven't got anybody there, really, that's going to be like, pull him to one side and be like, yeah, try this instead. Because I'm not being funny. If I were Hannibal, I wouldn't be listening to what Scott McTominay was saying to me after the season he's just had.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. I think there's a name here. Box has read out a list of names. So I want each of you just to pick out a name and just give me a little summary of who you think could feature next season. So Box is saying we already have Sancho, Rashford, Chong, Ahmad, Greenwood. So forget them. But he said Palestri, Garnacho, McNeil, Shawshire, Hugo, the striker, Elanga. Forget Elanga, he's on the first team already. But what about these young players? Can you pick out a young player, each one of you, and just see if they've got the ability, whether you think they've got someone who would be recognised as coming into the first team this year? Shawshire, for example, he's been sniffing around since social days. Rebel.
I forgot to unmute myself, but I'm looking here at that list of players. I'm actually, the obvious one for me is Garnacho, because I think he does seem to be growing in stature with every game. So I do think come the end of the season, he might have 9, 10, maybe 12 appearances under his belt and possibly getting a few starts as well. But it's actually his international teammate in the under-21s, young Fernandez, that I think could end up taking hold of the wing-back issues that we have. And there's an opportunity for him, especially if we do not look to purchase in that area, to grab a hold of a jersey. He looks like he's a decent prospect. Obviously, Garner's an obvious one, but for me, I'm going to plunk in with Garnacho and Fernandez being the two most likely to be the next ones to come in to a first team situation. I think Chartier has another small bit to go, He will get his domestic cup appearances. He will get a few bits and pieces. But I think maybe it could be a season too early to be looking to him. But they'll be my two that I'd plump for.
They're arguing about Hannibal in the comments. But let's talk about Shah. I want you to pick out one of the other players that Box mentioned. And we've had, Rebel spoke about Shawshire as well. But anyone else there you want to sort of endorse?
So I like Manil. Charlie McNeil and Garnacho. For those that watch, MUTV on a Friday night and watch some of the academy games, I've been watching Charlie since he joined us from City. And Charlie's has got an amazing way of reading the game. He's in the right places. All right, he's not the quickest player. Garnacho builds out his pace and the fact that he wants his desire, but they've both got it. And so is Hugill as well. So we're talking about strikers, players that are finishers. In my opinion, we need to think about that. So for me, McNeil would be someone I'd love to see alongside Garnacho and maybe Pellistri come through. For me, they're the ones that I'd pick out personally. But I think there's also, just on the point of these fringe players, there's a few others that probably haven't been mentioned, like Savage and Ethan Galbraith. So really, we've got an interesting squad. This class of 22 is an interesting squad. I think also the other thing as well, we have to remember, we have been sport with teenagers, i.e. Ronaldo's, the class of 96, Rooney being signed at 19, that have been able to hit the ground running. One thing that I say about this generation of youngsters, that Alanga got thrown in first game, Ahmad got thrown in first game, they've all scored, but they've never kind of lived up to the greater potentials of the Premier League yet. So I'm one to say that we should give these guys a bedding in period, but they still need to play regular football to build their strengths and their knowledge of the field. And what I mean by the field is they need to know how to play football at that level, at that pace, for us to be competing at top four.
Okay, guys, we've had a little warm-up session, and we've spoken a lot about a number of players, but the main talking point this week, as TalkMU would know full well, is that we had a big head-to-head. There's a lot of bumping of heads earlier this week when we were discussing about coaching or the players. What is wrong with Manchester United? There's been a lot of abuse held at certain players, and there's a lot of double standards as well, because you've got McTominay, you've got Maguire, you got the goalkeeper as well. We, as fans, we love to pick people out, say they're not good enough. But these Maguire, McTominay, and De Gea, they remain at the club, while others, who maybe some people might think good enough, have left. So we got to decide here: are we attacking the players? Forget the Glazers. I don't talk about the Glazers. Are we attacking the players? Because me and Mr. B were going bumping heads here the other day. Are we attacking the players and saying it's the players' issue, the players aren't good enough? Or are we saying some players can be coached, even at 28, 29 years old, in a good system, they can work? So Mata, for example, who couldn't get a game for love of money, he could go to a Spanish side, for example, who are well got good harmony, know how they play, and fit in and look like a brilliant player. A bit like Silva did at Sociedad. You understand? They could fit in and say, wow, look at this guy. Oh, my God, he's been in Premiership for years, Why didn't we play him in this sort of system? So is it about coaching, guys, or is it about just getting the good players? Because we're in the transfer market right now. We're complaining as fans that we haven't got any transfers coming in. But surely, aren't you supposed to implement the system first, which Ten Hag is all about? Or do you think you just bring in players like we have all willy-nilly? Oh, he's a big name. He's good. Let's just buy him. For example, the guy from Red Bull, Nkunku. He's got great stats, so he's on everyone's radar. We should buy him, because he scored a lot of goals this season. But where would he fit in? Where do you understand what I'm saying? What's more important out here? So
I'll tell you where fit in right midfield, mate.
I want to right wing. I'll kick this off.
You were backing me, so please, I want you to have your say in this. Let's go. Let's go now. Fire this up.
Yeah. Firstly, look, we got to bear in mind as well. Also, we're reel back a little bit to what I said earlier. Ten Hag needs to make the best possible start. Now, if we flood Ten Hag, we've shed loads of players. How's he going to make the best possible start? You can't. You can't play everyone all the time, right? You just can't do that. We've got pre-season. He's going to have to use that pre-season wisely with the right amount of players, with the right types of players. Now, we have got a lot of good players at the club already. We know that. Now, I just want to draw your attention to a little quote here. So it says, Ajax plays offensive and aggressive football, which we know, under Ten Hag. Their gameplay exudes complete confidence. This is also as a result of their, OMONDI, tactical structure. Okay? Now, that's something that, have we had a tactical structure that anybody can really sort of make us aware of over the last couple of seasons?
No.
It's been non-existent. We've had nothing at all in terms of tactical structure. And he goes on to say the Dutchman is an archetypal contemporary manager, dominating possession and utilising width with two full-backs, wingers, etc. We know that. We know, we're looking into, we're doing a lot of research on Ten Hag, his philosophy, his style of play and everything else. So when you back that up then with also some of the players that he took from the Premier League, two in particular, Haller and Tadic, and look at how he transformed those two players.
Yep.
Come on. Do you know what I mean? And how did he transform? Has he got special magic powers? Is he Gandalf? Is it Gandalf, the hag? No, he ain't. It's because of a great, an understandable and workable structure in terms of what you're doing, patterns of play, and understanding your position, individual roles of responsibility. That was something OMONDI was getting at earlier on. And OMONDI being sort of knowledgeable in that sort of area in terms of the coaching side of things. We talked about this ages ago in terms with like Man City and Liverpool. Is you look at their players, they have individual roles. Jack Grealish gave the game away not so long ago, didn't he? After on telly when he said, "Oh yeah, Pep doesn't like me doing X, Y, and Z. I have to do this. I've got to change my game." Do you know what I mean? That's that he has a specific role now. He can't just float about like he did at Villa, doing whatever he wants to do. He can't do that. So for me, I'll stop talking 1 second and then somebody else can jump in. But for me, we do have to give Erik Ten Hag a chance to work with what we've got before we start just wielding the axe and then just going spending loads of money. It's crazy in his first season.
That is absolutely sensational. Not only did you make a good speech there, but you provided evidence as well from the man himself about Ten Hag's system, and you gave great examples about Tadic, who no one really rated at Southampton, and Haller as well, who was completely disregarded at West Ham. He was fed goals, he scored loads of goals. Now he looks unbelievable.
You know what?
I'm going to come to you first, Callum.
Sorry, just before you do, I'll back up just a little bit further. So Sebastian Haller at West Ham, 10 goals at 48 appearances. Then he goes to under Erik Ten Hag, and Champions League, 7 appearances, 11 goals. Eredivisie, 31 appearances, 21 goals, 7 assists. Right? You know what I mean? There's a little bit of a pattern going on there. Do you know what I mean?
Calm. What do you think about this argument? Because can you see players like Harry Maguire turning it around? Have you given up on him? Where do you stand on this coaching versus players debate that we're having on the Man United agenda?
Well, I'm going to be stepping on some people's toes, I think. I'm a little bit biased myself. To me, coaching is the most important thing. I don't care who you are. You could be Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe, whatever. If you haven't got the correct coaching, you ain't going to perform. It's as simple as that. I could get on the phone now to all these top strikers and bring them down to a Sunday League and give them a Sunday League coach. They're not going to perform. I don't care whether they've got all the talent in the world. They won't perform because they need to be drilled and taught how to play a specific way. Like Harry Maguire might be the best centre-back in the league next year. We don't know. Erik Ten Hag might turn it around because he has got the talent and the coaching to do that. I mean, I'm a coach myself. I've got my FA qualifications. If I take a coaching session and it's rubbish, then the team's going to play rubbish. If it's really good, then I know we've got a really good chance of winning the game. So to me, coaching is the number one thing. There's no point bringing in player after player after player after player because 1, they might not fit the system. 2, they might not gel with the rest of the team. And 3, they might not understand the tactics or the coaching that's been asked of them.
Yes.
Woo! Cam, you joined the alliance here.
Yes, welcome
the
aboard.
Axis forces. I think we got someone rubbing their hands there in Rebel who wants to counter, I believe. Come on, Rebel,
Come
let
on,
us have it.
Let's
It's
have
not
it.
going to be, in fairness, in this situation, it's not going to be a full counter because I do agree with semblances of the need to have a top quality coach coming in there and put his hands on the assets. There are certain players though, and that I think possibly it's not going to be possible to add the element of the game that's going to be needed. Like look at David De Gea, one of the top goalkeepers in the world, but there's a clear and obvious lack in the way that he distributes a ball. And I don't think at this stage of the career, no amount of coaching or love is going to be able to possibly get that into his game. The other side of the coaching element that I do see is not only do you need a well-coached first 11, you need somebody that not only understands the role that they're playing at the moment, but possibly a role that they might have to cover in order to fill a gap due to an injury, a suspension, or whatnot. So the question really is not do we have 11 coachable players, but do we have 22, 23, 24 coachable players that can understand their role and possibly one other?
Do you know
Great
what?
point,
Can I just jump in? What you said there, Errol, I just want to. The question we've got to ask ourselves is:
Errol's not
with all-
here, TalkMU.
sorry, Rebel. Sorry, is has David De Gea been asked or even coached in that style of play that we're all wanting? That's the question we have to ask ourselves because quite clearly, I don't think he has. We've not had a coach who's been asking David De Gea to be that specific type of goalkeeper that we are wanting and craving. I know Bath Time is a big exponent of, other goalkeepers who do play the type of game that we're all wanting. And we all admit that David De Gea has got some, and this the same as I'm talking about Harry Maguire in the same breath. These players, in my opinion, have not actually been coached and asked to play in specific styles of a system that Ten Hag is about to introduce to them. And that's where I think the patience there comes in for us as fans. We have to be patient, give Ten Hag that little bit of time. We'll soon find out if they are not good enough. We will soon find out in the first half of the season. You know what I mean? Everything will become clear as crystal, I'm sure of that.
Shah, where do you stand on this? Because you've been a bit quiet about this. You stayed out of it. You don't want nothing to do with this when we were going bumping heads the other night. I want to know what you got to say, and I want you to be convicted in what you say. You either stand with us or against us. Where are you in this, bruv?
Well, look, to be honest with you,
and don't sit on the fence. Sorry.
No. We, as a club, from top to bottom, we've imploded in many areas. And I'm trying to be a little bit more wider in my thought process because I think the fact that you had Ralph Ragnick come in that last January, make suggestions, those scouting reports weren't done. We got rid of scouts. When you look at the infrastructure of the coaching setup, we had a set piece coach who came in. I think he delivered 2 goals from set pieces throughout that whole campaign. So, maybe become a set piece coach instead of just doing the normal FA Cup badges. But these are problems and issues that we've been consistently having. I'm excited about Ten Hag, the way he's delivered himself, the way he's gone to winning teams. He's created players, he's created stars, he's created world-class players. People that were unheard of are heard of, right? And I think we've got we've got some great players that haven't been coached in the right way. Who remembers a couple of seasons ago when the ball was just it was more like watching tennis. The ball going left, right. There was no forward play. Obviously possession football, but look, from my point of view, there was passes, there was things that could have been done. I think we've all seen the gaps from a lot of the players and the qualities. And Ten Hag's been able to address every single position in his squads that he's worked alongside. He's worked in Bayern Munich. He's worked with Ajax, who've got a similar structure to United. I think United, Liverpool, all these kind of big clubs have always got 4 or 5 fringe players that come through from the academy, and you've got to bed them in. There's a bedding in period. The difference at those other clubs is that period for Ten Hag was a little bit more accommodating and not as demanding of what the Man United job role is. And this is where I think it will be interesting for Ten Hag as a coach, given the structure and the infrastructure has been changed so much over these last 12 months, that if these signings don't come in, is he going to be able to hit the season running? You know, is he going to have enough time to get his message across to the players and get them onboarded? We saw the attitude of these players during last season's campaign. Look, some of them have gone and some of them are still there that didn't perform on that pitch. So, you know, they didn't react to a coach. You know, we've all talked about it having to have a good coach to be able to get the best out of these players. But I think the main thing is Fergie days, Van Gaal days, Mourinho days, players were scared. David Moyes, players weren't scared of David Moyes, players weren't scared of Oli, right? In terms of, you know, not performing for their coach or not wanting to perform for their coach, the passion, the desire, the energy on the pitch, 95 minutes, 120 minutes. We've lost games in extra time. We've taken games to draws that should have been wins. And the season before...
So, all right. Hold on, Sharp. I don't want a history lesson. I want you to tell me decisively, do you think it's because of the players not being good enough, or do you think it's the coaching? We've got new coaching now, who's going to be one of the most modern coaches out there. Do you think he can change these players from whores to housewives?
Yes, I definitely think so. And I'm not, you know, I'm not going to dispute that. Am I anxious about them actually giving that desire and passion on the pitch next season? I am, because we genuinely, none of us will know how these players react until they turn up on that pitch.
You said desire. Hold on, desire and passion. What about the system? If the system's in place, then it will come. Don't you think they will start playing football, have possession?
The reason why I'm talking about desire and passion is 100% the system has to be in place, but you as a football player getting paid X amount of money need to turn up. Roy Keane had a quote: "You just because you played the most fantastic 20 minutes against Tottenham as a sub doesn't mean you're the best player in the world." Consistency has to be part of this team now. We need consistent performance.
Shah, this is the thing is what I was saying again earlier is that this is all going to happen early on in that season. Ten Hag is going to find out all these answers to these questions that we have as fans. He's going to find all that out, and there will be no room for your slackers, for your hand thigh slappers, the players that are looking, putting their hands up, going, what they were doing now and all that nonsense. There is going to be no time for that. But what we've got to do as fans is be patient with him and allow him to go through that process, because if we don't, he can't. It's just not going to work. We've got to see him do the cull, give players the chance, and we will then, because it's first season, and I'm not expecting anything. And I remember Mr. B laughing at me when I said all I'm expecting from Ten Hag in the first season is for him to keep us in the league. Mr. B is laughing his ass off at me, and I'm like, man, you was on as well, Shah, when I said that. I think you was on, and I was, of course he's going to keep us in the league. I know that. What I was basically saying was, I'm not expecting him to go out and get us into European top four and all that kind of stuff, or maybe even win us a trophy in his first season. No, because the mess is that massive. The mess, it's like it's a huge knot of wool, cotton, rope, and all kinds of madness going on. He's got to go in and detangle all that and try and make something that is pretty and works and fits the purpose.
You know what? I have to jump in here and just say, look, I think TalkMU has made a great case. I've listened to Carl McCullough as well. He's made a good point. Shah, you've made some good. We know where you stand now. Rebel and Mr. O'Connor, and the people in the comments as well, because there's 18 people in the comments. There's a lot of talk going on in the comments. I don't know if you guys are reading the comments, but it's sort of a mix. Bath Times making a stand. I think Box is making a stand as well. Eddie's jumping in. We're going to go to the comments in a minute, but summarize, please. Carm, you're going to jump in and say something. What have you changed your mind? Has Shah swung your opinion?
No, not at all. I like to jump in and go at some of these David De Gea comments that are coming in.
Go on.
Attack. So some people are saying it's too late in his career to develop his game, to change his game.
Yeah.
Edwin van der Sar came to us at 34 years old. He didn't play the same way as he played for Fulham as he did for us. So it's not too late for him to change the way he plays. If Edwin van der Sar did it at 34, why can't David De Gea do it now?
Do you think Edwin van der Sar developed anything at 34 coming to us?
Oh, I think he did change the game compared to when he played for Fulham.
How did he change his game?
Well, at Fulham, when I've watched him play like at Fulham, he didn't seem to command his box as much. He didn't seem to do that. Maybe it's because he didn't have the right defence in front of him. Maybe because he was a bit leaky, so he had to stay back. But when he came to Man United, he was the ever-growing presence there.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that David De Gea can be coached into a distributing sweeper keeper, coming off his line, all these factors that he needs to improve on?
Oh, yeah, 100%. He definitely can, especially under the coaching regime that Ten Hag's going to put in. You got to think, we had Ollie. Ollie didn't even coach the team. There was no coaching or development under Ollie. So under Eric Ten Hag, with his system and the way he wants people to play, he will get the best out of the players.
Preach. I like it.
Rebel, you don't like that? Go on.
I'll be honest with you, I think Colin has made some great points there. But I suppose just to go back to something that Shah mentioned, and I think TALKMU mentioned, it is going to be, without a shadow of a doubt, that there are going to be players that will remain in that squad that probably mentally do not want to be there. They've gone through a number of seasons where they haven't been able to motivate themselves to give of their best, and possibly have gone down the road now where in their heads, look, I'll take my wage, and if I play, I play. If I don't, I don't. But I suppose what's important now for Ten Hag is that when he looks at his squad of players, that there would be enough meat, enough room, that if he has maybe 2 or 3 of these characters, that, say, look, I'm not hungry enough to play for you. Because Ten Hag is the type of manager, if you're not going to play for him, he's not going to use you, and you're going to be out in the cold very, very quickly, because he's not going to tolerate anything that will mess with the morale of his squad. We need to make sure that if some of those players are removed from the selection equation, that we have enough cover. So I think that is a big, big balancing act that needs to take place between now and the start of the season. Regardless of what our ambitions are in terms of where we're going to finish in the league, I think somebody said on this channel during the week, it's about progress and making advancements and actually being in a better position at the end of the season coming than we are entering in this period of uncertainty where Ten Hag has to pretty much get a handle on 25, 26 players that are currently there and possibly grab 3 or 4 more from exterior sources. But there will be change. There will be players that will fall out because they will not have the desire to put in the work that's required.
No, that makes a good point. Before we go into the comments, because there are a lot of comments and they are going to sway opinion, I think. Rise, TALKMU, do you want to go back to your catchphrase, Roy Walker? Say what you see. Because I'm interested. We had a few comments in earlier. Okay, is it possible we can go back to that?
Yeah. Listen, I when I made it, I thought, you know what, this is either going to be really easy or really hard. And it turned out that it was really easy because Amondi gunned me down really early on. I was like, you took my breath away when you said it, Amondi. So I think if everybody else can remember what Amondi said. And you know what? I knew what it was that was what swung it for you. It was the Chelsea badge. And I was thinking, should I put the Chelsea badge in or should I put something else to do with Chelsea, the area of London? Do you know what I mean? I was like,
can I just say, I wasn't the only one. I think Bath Time with Vaughan. I don't want to go all the way up now to the comments because I've been highlighting some.
Tom Mitchell as well.
If you did get this right, can we just confirm what it is then and just break it down, the words?
So it's Andre. So Dre beats. So that's Dr. Dre. Can Chel. So there's the Chel. That's Chelsea. And then the kiss. And that's where Amondi got it by putting the Chelsea badge with the kiss. And now if I would have put what I was going to put something different in there, I think you would have struggled a bit more. So listen, folks, there's your answer. It is Andre Canchel's kiss. Okay. And then, you know what? It's the first one. But listen, next week, on Friday, this is going to be the same, but it's going to be way tougher. Let me tell you that. But big up Monday for getting it wrong.
Karma Pana, what do you think of Andre Kanchelskis? What are your memories of him?
Oh, I got many memories of him, to be honest with you. I was quite young when he was playing, so I'm not going to lie there.
Okay. We'll ask people in the comments then what they think of Kanchelskis. Would he be world class, great player? Where would you put him into a list of Man United legends in his position? So I'm going to go through the comments now. Obviously, we've been having this heated debate. I'm going to start right here. Bath time. He says Rashford has more ability than Mane and Salah. It's about coaching and motivation. I will be missing out comments, by the way. I've just picked out a few. Bath time also said if we had a tactical structure under Ole, it was primitive, but there was one there. Bath time also says, and it got the best out of the squad, which we didn't realize, or he didn't realize at the time. Hi, Jackie. How you doing? Everyone give Jackie a wave. The first lady of Man United agenda. She says you need a mixture of talent, desire, football intelligence, and coaching. Players don't just turn up and play the game without coaching. Comment of the day for me, if you are. What do you reckon, guys?
Definitely.
13 in like at that time. Please hit the
Big
like
up,
button.
Eddie.
Bath Time's also saying, look at what a lack of tactical acumen has and zero motivation from Radwick did to our lads. Reverse that, and we have a good shot of getting top 4. And he's saying that with the squad we have at the moment. Eddie's saying Mark Edmund, exactly. By the way, Mark Edmund, welcome, man, to the show all the way from Australia. We've got New Zealand and Australia in the house today. So many players are the wrong style. Ola Kunle saying, seriously, you're going to say we had no tactical structure in the last 9 years? Louis Van Gaal tried to implement total football, but you couldn't wait. That's why we need to be patient these days. Jose is one of the most tactical managers out there again. That's his point. Box saying Haller and Jokic looked decent in their partnership at Frankfurt. Who are they? The Europa League winners, aren't they? Or
Jovetic is at Madrid, I think, isn't he? At the moment.
Jokic is at Madrid now, yeah. So from that form they had at Frankfurt, playing in ideal position for them, which tactically worked for them, they look sensational. Djokovic has just gone downhill at Madrid. He's not been getting games. But Haller now is back looking good again at Ajax. So it's about finding a club that suits your, can get the best out of you. Bartime saying, to be fair, Haller, he was highly rated before the West Ham move. He's always been a good player. Boxer saying, imagine Maguire redemption arc, lifting the title as captain. Think about that, guys. I'm going to read it again slowly. Imagine the Maguire redemption arc. Imagine that. Lifting the title.
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine the OMONDI redemption?
Exactly. I would have you on the show, Shah, and I will be it in your face. Trust me. Martin says, yeah, Emma, I agree.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Ten Hag will need to build his team. We have to be patient. And that's a great comment. Ola Kunle says, Tadic and Haller, both pants won't cut in the Premiership like Depay. Matthew Bassett saying, we're currently a hybrid team. There's no balance or cohesion in the squad. Boxer saying, yeah, not all players can be turned into wine. That is a great comment. We're not endorsing everyone, but coaching will have a big impact, as Mr. O'Connor was saying earlier. Eddie's saying, hi, Matthew, it's a mix still of both, but mostly counter-attack. This is why Ten Hag needs so much backing for possession players right now. He was asked who the possession players are. He came up with Donny. We'll go back to that later. MK is saying 100% we won't see his style fully this season, but after that he will need to know the Prem and exactly what he needs. Here we go with the argument, O'Connor. Jackie saying David De Gea is an elite goalkeeper. He's been told to play a certain way. Also, would you trust the players in front of him? So this is an issue. He won the title with Ferdinand and Vidic in front of him 10 years ago. And since then, he hasn't had that sort of talent in front of him in defence, especially last season. UK Strange is saying Cristiano Ronaldo has set the benchmark for the manager and the team next season. He saved us loads. So that's a player already doesn't need coaching. He's done it all. Bartham saying, there was quite an interesting thing Pogba said. There's a Pogba documentary to Varane when he signed, which was the defence needs a mentor and he has to start shouting at everyone. So when Varane came to club, Pogba said to him, he has to take responsibility and he has to lead the defence because Pogba didn't have enough confidence in Maguire and whoever was there at the time. Ole Kunle saying, listen, you won't be able to coach De Gea into having the skills he hasn't already got. That's a fact. Similar to Joe Hart, Pep came in, got rid of him straight away off the bat. At his age, he's great at what he does, which is shot stopping. I know you see you shaking your head there, Cole. I'll tell you something, Cole. Olakunle really does push our buttons. Let's not react. Let's not react like that. Just a couple more about. Here we go. I want to go to UK Strange. Eric Ten Hag will strip the team of lazy. This is what Rebel was saying about lazy, moaning players, and we will see big improvements next season. Just you wait and see. Helena Hopkinson, all the way from New Zealand, says, I can't wait to see how many more goals Ronnie can get under Ten Hag. Ronnie has more goals than any English Premier League team. Ronnie, okay, in total. Okay. I see what he's saying. And he's saying, Shah, thanks for the history lesson. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Shah. Bartha saying, for me, it's three main issues. I'm going to leave it on this comment here because I like this one. Bartha says, for me, three main issues for that horror show that we saw last season were a lack of coaching, a lack of motivation, and a lack of team cohesion and morale. All that comes from the coaching structure. Now, you got your badges, Colin. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. The lack of coaching, there was no coaching at all. Obviously, all the leaks and everything that were coming out from the dressing room, there's no cohesion or anything, but all that's going to change this season. You should wait and see. It's all going to change this season.
So we're going through the comments, guys. The 22, please press the like button. 22 watching right now. We're going to kind of wind it down about this discussion here. Rebel, we got anything to add about this? Because, you've been kind of on the fence. I think Mr. B, without Mr. B chipping in, you kind of like leaning towards our way of thinking. Or am I wrong?
Firstly, I just want to say I did drop in that quiz question I asked in the last show. The only player to win whose surname is made up entirely of Roman numerals, the Premier League. That is, of course, Vidic. That time you are correct. And you are in glorious company because, would you believe, the quizmaster himself, Monday Juma, did not know the answer to that question. So I'd just like to say, if you got that answer, you're a better man than a Monday. So know that. But I do see the merit on both sides of the argument. I think in terms of coaching, it actually would come down to whether the player, number one, has the attitude to embrace what the coach is telling him. And it is a question of whether they will forgo the previous way that they've done things and take it on and embrace the knowledge, or whether or not they're going to go, nah, screw this. I've had a cushy life for the last 3 or 4 years. This is the way I'm going to do it. And if players do that to Ten Hag, it has been stated by players that have worked under him, he does not tolerate that. He will shoehorn them out the door into obscurity before he allows that sort of sepsis to take root in the squad. It may come with us being short-handed in the position, but I'd imagine he would favour having a player less for a position than having someone that is toxic to the group. I'd love to see David De Gea taking on a new style of football. I'd love to see the wing backs doing the movement that is required of them to pick up that ball that David De Gea will be producing. There's a lot of work to be done. And I don't think any of us are under the illusion that there isn't a lot of work to be done. Regardless of whether it's a couple of the young players coming in, the lads returning from loan like Donny and Garner, or Diallo and Palestri, if they get the opportunity, there's a lot of work. There's 4 weeks to the start of the season, roughly, I think. And it is going to be an incredibly long season with that World Cup. So it's going to be attritional. It's going to require dedication. And depending on how many players we have, it could take a bit of luck in terms of injuries and avoiding ones in key positions.
Brilliant. Shah, last words on the matter?
It's all change, new coaches, new philosophies. Hopefully they can eradicate any of the learnings that they've done and take this new era in their hands and really play football the way that they're going to be coached to be winners. Personally, that's all I want to see. I want to see wins instead of those draws, those losses. I want to see some great words being used today: cohesion, you know, I think that is something that we have missed. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope everyone else is too.
You know what? I think TalkMU delivered a great presentation tonight because it seems like even the comments and the majority of the panel as well are convinced it's a lot to do with the coaching. And even, you can go through the comments when you watch the show as well. We're not going to go through all of them, but we've got Jackie as well. Jackie has been a big endorser of David De Gea, and she's made some really good points as well. And she does believe in him. She does have faith in him that he can turn this around. Don't forget, guys, if you want to be a member, because you can come on the show, the Friday night show. This is the late night show. We go on and on and on. We've gone on for over an hour. We've had an engaging debate here. Everyone's had their say, especially in the comments. Really good comments today. Karma Connor, we're going to come to you as we just go through some of these comments here. What was your debut like coming on the show? Because you're usually in the comments. And would you advise people to become a member of the Man United Agenda so they can appear with us, the Dream Team, on the show right now? Let us know where we can find you.
Oh yeah, 100%, guys. Do make sure you become part of the team here and get on just like I have, and speak your comments. Let everybody hear, and maybe rub a few people the wrong way as well. If you want to find me anywhere, my Twitter is OCMUFC, and I have Twitch and also YouTube, and that's Swift Spartan 92.
Brilliant.
Okay, folks, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a link into Colm's Twitch. So if you could just click on that for us and go and give Colm a follow there on Twitch, if everybody is on Twitch, and give him some support there. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Top man. No problem.
What do you think the comment of the day was? Or I think it was Emma. Emma made a really good point. I think Bath Times made some good points as well. Box. Annie Herbert is always here for the jokes as well. We love you guys. It's really, I've learned a lot today. Sometimes I will change my mind about certain things. Eddie's saying here, Omondi and Maguire redemption. Imagine that it could happen under Ten Hag. Obviously, there's a lot of tension with the fans, the fan base of Man United at the moment because there's no transfers. But we're here to tell everyone to be calm, as in the words of Colin O'Connor. Be calm, because it's still a long way to go. We've got a great manager. That's the main thing, a head coach. And today, I think we've established the importance of having a head coach. And what we've seen, we've given examples of players that have playing under a good coach could do really well. So I think it's really important to just be patient with the team. And we're going to be back, obviously, Monday to Friday at 8:30. If anything happens over the weekend, we will be breaking news like that. If there's a signing made, we will be coming on and doing a show about it. So make sure you stay tuned. That means pressing the little alarm bell on the channel, and then you'll be notified straight away when something goes down. Any last words from anybody? Because I'm about to shut this down.
I'm going to actually do a saying that Mr. B normally does because he's also been absent. My belly's rumbling on Monday, so that is all in the head.
Yeah, I've got to eat, bro.
Honestly, thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in today. It's been a pleasure listening to all these comments and having you on as well, Callum. Hopefully we see you again very soon. It was a great discussion, as Jackie's saying here. Thank you, panel. She says, great discussion, fab chat, and happy weekend. And everyone go out there, go and get some sunshine. It's not often that we have sunshine like this, and it's glorious out here. So glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Manchester United Agenda. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor, for coming on. We're going to see you again soon, no doubt, because you've been brilliant. And we're signing out. Have a great weekend. Bye. See you later.
See you later, everyone. Thank you.